tots, which is more arts and crafts.
So let me tell you, my friends, we have some people hanging out in the chat right now, and they're like, I wonder if they were there. Were they here? Did you see them?
Where'd you go?
They see us now.
They do.
They do. They do indeed. They see us now. I do not believe that you saw us earlier. So if we've just been broadcasting, basically, me mea culpa.
Oh no.
Yep. Sean Vieira says, we got some movement, and Apoop says, yay! And now they have sound. That is so good. Do you see? There's an echo.
Wow. Okay. It's now, our now or their now?
When will then be now?
Now.
There's an echo, which is now on delay. I have no echo. Everything is fine. Okay. Owen's getting an echo. Apook says, things are great. So I guess it's sort of 6 of one, half dozen of an Owen. So, wow. Okay. Let me know. How's no echo? Echo left. Okay, great. Excellent. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mutants and Masterminds Monday. We're early.
Yeah, we don't like to tell a lot of people, but these are technically supposed to start at 2:30.
Right. So you're all a little early. So if you could just
hang out.
Yeah, just hang out for a minute. We're gonna just chat amongst ourselves and talk about what we're doing today. We're doing something cool, right?
A couple of cool things.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, first really cool thing is reminding everybody that the condition cards are real.
Woo!
They exist. You can buy them. They are print on demand right now from DriveThruRPG. They look great. You've got at least 2 copies of every single condition from the core book. So that is enough for your players to get one and your game master to have one. And it's fast, easy reference to hand out while you're just laying out the hurt on each other.
I am stoked about that, and they do look really good. Hello to Raina, hello to Stan, hello to Sean, hello to Owen, hello to Jason. Glad that you're all here. I just realized I didn't introduce you. These people are just wondering, like, who the heck are these people? But, we hang out with Crystal Frasier and Steve Kenson, and I'm the disembodied voice of Troy. And, look at Owen Stevens busts in like a link wizard in training. Amazing.
Owen Casey Stevens, the nicest man in gaming, is in our audience?
Yes.
I know, right?
Yes, exactly. I think we've arrived. But yeah, so, the condition cards, and then what?
After that, I know nobody's asked about this, but we are really happy and proud of this. The Time Traveler's Codex print edition is finally going to start shipping this week.
Woo!
It's going to go up for orders. It is in the distributor warehouse. It is ready to be Christmas presents.
It is here. It is fully materialized.
We've wedged it free of the time rift that it was in. Caught in a chronal eddy outside of the time stream.
That seems to take a really long time.
Yeah, it does.
And yet no time at all, technically.
Right, yeah. You're either early or you're late or you haven't quite yet. Question, did you say a chronal?
Yes, chronal.
And what does that mean? So time-ish, right? Like
it's timey-wimey.
Timey-wimey. Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Exactly.
I like that. Oh, I like that. Stan says it was always at this moment in time. We just had to catch up to it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's like no prize. We got to get our own sort of no prize,
Yeah, I guess now that the book is going up for sale, we technically have to get started on it and ship it back in time to us.
That's true. That's true. And because of that, we kind of crafted an entire episode of Mutants and Masterminds Monday around time.
Oh, crafted makes it sound like we did any actual preparation.
I know. I like to put a little spin on things.
To paraphrase, Doc Brown, please excuse the crudity of this model because we didn't have time to build it to scale or paint it.
Yeah, but if I do run into myself from the future, I've got some things to share. Don't push that button. All right, so we're going to. I'm really excited about this because I love it when we get an opportunity to sort of take the contents of your brain and sort of pour them out onto the internet, unfiltered, unfettered, unvarnished. So yeah, we're doing a kind of a session 0, right?
Yeah, so we thought it'd be fun to the three of us sit down and kind of play out what a session 0 looks like, because we've talked about them on occasion before, where you sit down with your game master and your players and you decide what do you want out of this campaign and what characters do you want to play and all that. So I thought it would be a lot of fun to sit down and decide we're going to do a time travel campaign and have a session 0, presumably with me being a player and the game master, which takes me back to high school.
Right?
I love it.
So,
I think, yeah. So let's just, what shall we do?
Well, I mean, first thing is, hi everybody, I'm Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
So yeah, let's look at a PL10 time travel focused superheroes game, using Mutants and Masterminds. I'm gonna open up by saying, like, personally, as GM, I prefer it if we had one time machine shared between the group. So, like, nobody with individual time travel powers, just because it makes it easier to keep everyone together. And besides that, like, what do you guys want out of a fun time travel game? Like, do you like wackiness? Do you like historical drama? Do you want to see the past, the future, alternate presents?
I like a lot of the opportunity to like save historical events and things like that in a time travel game, where that's you're doing the, you know, like preventing the bad guys from changing history, kind of adventures.
Like a Peabody and Mr. Sherman model, where you go back in time and things aren't running like the history books say they should, and you put it back on track.
You got to fix things.
So like a temporal game wardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think, Troy?
You know, I like the sound of that, and I'm wondering if you know, I do kind of like that race to the future past kind of thing. I like the idea, of course, of us being together and not sort of running into each other in a time stream of some sort. Yeah, this all sounds good.
Yeah. So do you want to be like cast together by fate, or like all part of the same agency, or do you want to like figure out character concepts first and then see what grows out of that?
I kind of I'd love it if we were sort of an elite sort of group trained for this mission in time.
Okay, so that's kind of suggests we've got a boss or bosses of some kind.
Yeah, we can go with that. We got in the Time Traveler's Codex, we've actually got 2 different examples of temporal installations. So you can start out with a time travel headquarters.
Ooh, I like it.
So you can have the Event Horizon, which is like a sci-fi time cop / like preserving the timeline sci-fi headquarters, or there's the Void Time Zone, which is a magical time travel dimension.
Interesting. You see, I'm kind of inclined almost to go with the magical option, just because it's the kind of rare one you don't see very much of. Time travel is so usually sci-fi.
Yeah, I'm not even subtle about the references I take. That's actually pulled from Ninja Turtle comics. I mean, half of what we publish in M&M is just homages to our favorite comics.
Pretty much. Pretty much. That's hardly a secret.
Yeah. So yeah, we can give you guys a magical headquarters, and I will knock it down from 17 equipment points to 15. That way it divvies up to like an even 5.
Nice even number.
Yeah, 5 equipment points per player.
Okay. I like it.
And then, yeah, I would suggest, you know what, I'm also going to say everybody gets the Chronal Bulwark feat for free. So if there's a change to the timeline, you will not be affected.
Oh, good.
Well, that kind of speaks to the character's eliteness, you know, in terms of why they're good at this particular job.
Yep. And for those playing or following along at home, that's another advantage that's introduced in the Time Traveler's Codex. And So if you want to have memories of your personal timeline, which you already have, and whatever new time you end up in, like if somebody changes the past, normally with Chronal Bulwark, you only remember your timeline, the right time that you're from. If you get Chronal Memory, you'll remember both of them. So you'll know what's different across them.
So you sort of know the biography of your alternate self.
Yeah. So like, yeah, you'll know that, oh, well, in this new timeline where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by, let's go with the French, that my character is now a gendarme in New Paris.
Hey, real quick, I want to bust in and say hello to Rainbow Sky, gay and proud, says, and also because you are magical, Steve. So I share that primarily because Rainbow is our very first chat from YouTube, a functioning guest who has joined us and is watching. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
We got the YouTube working.
Hooray!
We do indeed.
We finally figured out what every 15-year-old on the planet is just born instinctually knowing.
Oh, hey, those kids. I was born before the internet. Back in my day,
we all were.
Back in my day, we had a curly Q phone cord and a BBS. But do continue.
Just saying, I remember when we called it the DARPANET, and we were happy.
That's right.
So yeah, let's talk out some character concepts. What do people like to play?
Well, if we have a magical headquarters, are the characters going to be all sort of magic users of some kind?
Yeah.
Or are they, just sort of recruited by this magical force agency organization as far as that goes?
Which sounds like more fun to you? Because it could go either way. You could be like time werewolves who are magical, or an elite Avengers style group just gathered by time wizards.
I'm wondering if there could be some theming around sort of elements or something that we each sort of possess a piece of, and that together we kind of fit that the puzzle, whatever that is that unlocks our ability to travel through.
So like the 4 classic elements, Fantastic Four style, or like the Triforce of Wisdom, Courage, and Power.
That feels right. Yeah. That Triforce. I like that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, it makes sense since we're basically talking about the 3 of us and 3 character concepts and all of that.
I don't know. Troy, what do you want to play? You've got the least experience with the system, so...
Yeah, I think I would, so I'm tending to lean towards sort of that excited, young, foolhardy, a little sort of diving into, problems and just so happy to be here, that kind of thing. But it's a little sort of on the nose. When you don't know, play what you know. But so maybe that's it. Or the other thing I thought I would do potentially is sort of more of a stoic character, but I don't know if I've got it in me to not have it in me. So we'll go with.
So if I'm following along, you either want to play like the audience insert new reader character like Jubilee, or you want to be Wolverine.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's the time-honored challenge, really.
Yeah.
It is indeed.
All the way back to the Wolverine Shadowcat days. Do I want to be Wolverine or do I want to be Shadowcat?
Right.
I mean, the correct answer of both. The correct answer is both. I want to play Laura.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Well, what kind of problem-solving skills do you want? Do you want to be like the social person in the group? Do you want to be the technical whiz kid?
I think.
Do you want to be?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say. I think maybe what this can be is a bit of sort of that happy-go-lucky sort of diving into danger unknowingly because I just don't realize what's happening, and I'm like, what could, nothing's hurt me yet. But then also
lots of ranks of luck.
I was just gonna say, that luck would, play kind of a big part in that, and that I almost feel too that there's an underlying sort of, I don't know if we're passing along this magical sort of influence, generationally or kind of through the whatever. So maybe there are moments in a channeling whatever this power is, that there's a deeper wisdom that comes out. Sort of reminds me a little like that kind of airbendery, right? Like you're
okay, so you can like
channeling that.
tap into like generational memory.
Yeah, something like that, exactly. And maybe I don't even quite remember it. I go into a state of some kind, but interesting. Yeah, that feels good.
I could see some sort of, kind of reincarnating, sort of daredevil risk-taking character who has all of these links to their past lives and incarnations and can draw upon a lot of their like different experiences and skills and abilities, but also has, different, sort of complications around how their past incarnations may have ended, and some of them kind of badly.
And then we've kind of got the option of like either you can keep running into your past incarnations through the time travel scenarios, or instead of you personally time traveling, every time we go back in time, it's like we meet up with one of your past versions.
Oh, wow. What an idea. That is cool.
It's not you don't time travel, but you're kind of omnipresent.
Yeah, you're like the through line. You're the zip line we use to time travel.
Holy crap. I love that. Okay, yeah, sold. I really like that. So more of like my roots go back in time and, we're connecting with, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's fun.
All right, so we've got our main method of time travel.
There we go.
Fun.
It's Troy.
Right.
What about you, Steve?
So I'm thinking like sort of a techno wizard type, somebody who's got a lot of smarts, a lot of figuring things out, and is definitely like the type to come up with a lot of on the fly solutions to things. Maybe has a lot of gadgetry. Maybe even play into the notion that we're a character who's mixing science and magic in different ways.
So like you said, like a techno wizard.
Yeah.
And I like it. And do you want to play with any of the like equipment that's in this book of like freezing things in time or wiping them out of the timeline entirely?
Yeah, well, there'd definitely be room for that, if the campaign includes a certain amount of time-based technology or the like.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
So, like, do you go with the artificer feat or the inventor, or artificer advantage or the inventor advantage, or both?
That's a question. It might even be both. I mean, they're pretty. They're each 1 point advantages, so it would be crazy to have both and either alternate or combine them in some way.
Nice. I like it. So yeah, for me, I am thinking a character out of classical literature that has been drawn out of their fictional universe as specifically to be a time corrections person because she's not a native part of this timeline. So any changes to this timeline
don't affect her.
Yeah, won't affect her.
I like it.
Nice.
And so it sounds like we've kind of, like, Troy, I get the impression you want to go with like a martial arts, like once the spit hits the fan and we do the action scenes, do you want to be like kind of a martial artist or like wielding psychic power, or
I think probably more physical, and also I'm wondering too, do I know going into sort of the state, like if my corporeal form, I'm still in the timeline, but we're all headed back, and I maybe acting as the anchor. Do I know what my personalities are? Are we kind of, is it sort of one of those situations like what was that movie or that television show where the guy would jump into bodies?
Quantum Leap?
Yeah, is it like a quantum leap kind of thing? I don't quite know until I see myself, or am I?
Well, I'd like to think that Well, there are a lot of different ways you could do it, but you could build the notion that your character has this sort of through line so that their abilities are fairly consistent for the most part, maybe with
Yeah.
a small amount of variability that you can play around with from game session to game session.
Yeah, and like a rank or two of the variable power so that you can
Right.
change up like what physical stats you have in any given timeline.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be easier to
this
manage that way.
incarnation's a little stronger, this one's a little faster, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but you can still channel the same like knowledge of, martial arts or
Right.
fencing, or I'm not sure what you want to go with.
I think martial arts. I feel like that'll be sort of a unifying kind of presence, and I think given given sort of the calming, sort of focused nature that I need to sort of keep my psyche in tune and not break up, into all the different sort of
Makes
related
sense.
needs.
And your body as a weapon is the one that goes with you no matter where.
Yep. I like it.
Nice. In that case, I guess gonna lean towards like an archer or a sharpshooter type. What do we have like in that direction as far as history goes? Like,
well, there's Annie Oakley.
But she was real.
Oh, that's true. She's not
Calamity Jane, though.
Calamity Jane, there you go.
That could be a lot of fun. Time traveling cowgirl.
Right.
And give her some investigative abilities.
Yeah.
Like maybe not the most social person in the world, but can definitely pick up a trail. Be a sharp shot with a rifle. Get her some kind of like magic or high tech or techno magic rifle and I don't know, Bowie knife.
Right. And if we wanted to even play on, because Calamity is such a great name, she would be perfect for assigning some luck powers of some kind, that maybe she has some kind of probability control.
Oh, I kind of like the idea of, because she's fictional, she's not supposed to be in the timeline, and her being around just makes things sort of bend wrong around her.
A bit of a chaos effect, which also make a great complication.
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. That is so cool. Also, Nicole's like, yes, Calamity Jane.
And then my, techno wizard character kind of fills in a lot of gaps as far as that goes. I'm figuring the character is going to have a pretty decent array of gadgets and the like, and maybe some variability from just power stunts and using inventor and the like.
Nice.
Jared says Annie Oakley comes to mind too, and then Jonesy says bad lucky.
Yeah, man, we need at least one more player for this game, don't we?
I know.
Ideally.
So sounds like we've got a fun group. Session zeros are easy and fast.
Right? Now, we time travel using Troy's character as kind of our homing beacon to get us, and maybe even our early warning system who like tells us, something is wrong in a particular era.
I like that.
I do too.
But how do we actually get there? Do we like walk through a doorway or a magical gate? Or
I'm seeing like that sanctum sanctorum kind of space that opens up and there are doors that we can walk through. Maybe that's kind of the stepping off into time as opposed to a space, a different spot in the world. How do you feel about that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You could just use Troy himself as the gate.
Right. Yes, I will wear a long trench coat and then I will open it. That you can.
I was more thinking that Doctor Strange effect where like everything sort of crumbles and spins. And...
Yeah, that sort of sparky spin thing. I like that. Jonesy asks, where and when is home base?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the Void Time Zone, which is a magical demi-plane held outside the timeline.
So technically it's nowhere and no when.
Exactly. So even if we end up completely screwing the pooch and destroying the time stream, we could just go home and camp out there for eternity.
Figure out how to
Right,
fix
yeah.
it.
I mean, that is the ultimate hope, right? Like even
Right?
if things go bad, you've got a safe place to retreat to and undo it all.
Interesting. I wonder, given the nature of time and the nature of our, however we were recruited to kind of be a part of this, are we, there's that time trope of like, we are the cause of our own trouble,
Mhm.
and so we are constantly sort of moving through time together to try to fix the thing that we broke, and that time keeps shifting and changing. Or are we just there and ready to go like the Avengers, give them a call and we appear?
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that there's another organization trying to
Mhm.
tweak things in the past.
Ooh, I
Maybe
like
it's
that.
like weird, super evolved, I don't know, goannas from an alternate timeline where
Mhm.
humans just went completely off track and they became the dominant life form, and
Right.
they're trying to make sure that this happens.
Well, I mean, Troy's character is perfect for somebody who has an arch enemy with a similar
Oh
ability.
yeah.
Oh, wild. Like we're kind of having this race through time, through the
Mhm.
psyches of ourselves, or here's a question real
Yeah.
quick. Jared says, does time leak in like a bit leaks in and changes the base?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It might not normally, but I can certainly see an adventure where that would happen.
Yeah, where there's like deliberate sabotage or
Right.
like a
Yeah.
temporal storm.
The archvillain somehow gets the tentacles or roots, kind of into. Oh, hello, Nicholas. Nicholas joins us and says, "How do I always get here late and race through time? This is perfect." Thank you, friend. Glad you're caught up with us. Okay, yeah. So did we? So we're outside of the time. We're out of
Yeah,
time.
like our home base is outside of time.
I love it.
Mhm.
And yeah, for those of you showing up late, we are basically running through like a sample session 0 for how to put together a time travel based campaign using the time travel codex.
Yeah, we've
And
got some great stuff. This is really
yes,
amazing.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I also like the idea that our like alternate version of Troy, our evil Troy, our Yort, if you will, can also pull fictional characters out of
Mhm.
like outside of time, so that we can
Right.
fight Dr. Frankenstein or Moriarty or whoever
Mhm.
we feel like going up against.
Oh, I like
Sure.
that a lot.
Especially if he's, basically got control over them. I mean, once he's pulled them into our time stream, it's like, well, if you want to continue to exist,
Yeah.
you're basically going to do what I say.
Interesting. That creates sort of a complication in my mind of accidentally pulling people and then also feeling so guilty
Mhm.
about trying to get rid of them that I
Mhm.
end up with we end up with a
Sure.
lot of friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that could even, set up the potential background that maybe that's how Calamity Jane got here.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah.
But she somehow has managed to slip, from, this bad guy's control and influence, and is just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do
Yeah, I had to latch myself to somebody else with the same powers.
that. Mhm.
Nicholas says that's how you force loyalty. Perfect.
Ow.
I know, right? Interesting. So Apuk says, I always thought an immortal character in a time travel group would be interesting, visiting or working against younger versions of themselves, maybe having to show their new
Mhm.
friends a version of themselves from the past that they didn't like. That's an interesting complication.
I mean, that's the like late campaign reveal that Yort is
Mhm.
actually Troy at a different stage in his life.
Dun dun
Right?
dun.
Future version of him, past version of him.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And then, that could be maybe why my physical body can't leave outside time. You can't
Mhm.
step into time because something
It would be a paradox.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Nicholas says taking notes. Yeah, this is fascinating. Okay, so what is next on our checklist?
I mean, next, like we typically go through and figure out like what are some things like we definitely don't want to deal with in our
Mhm.
fun happy game, and I'm just going to put in, like, I'm going to go ahead and gloss over a lot of historical homophobia and sexism just for the sake of, having a fun time running around with Romans and in Victorian England.
I love
little
that.
of what we could call cartoon history.
Yeah, we're going to go with more comic book history and downplay some of the historical horrificness.
I gotcha. So for us, I love this. We're setting sort of a tone and having a dialogue that we're not going to. We're going to just take a little break in our fun gameplay and have fun, rather than
exactly.
dig through all the issues of our past. We do that on a daily basis. So, Nicholas asked a question. So, is it too evil holding the PC's baby selves hostage?
I mean, is that too evil, or is it more evil when you rescue them and then use them to start a baby-based spin-off?
Oh, right. That is, yeah. These babies
Time Patrol babies.
Patrol
right. These babies are out of time. I like it.
They grow up so fast, unless.
Unless, right?
That's good. Great question, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, and like what I usually like to ask people when we're sitting down and like doing our session 0 is like, pitch me 1 or 2 NPCs. They could be like people who are in the void time zone with you, like staff or, overseers or your interns who depend on you. They could be your like rivals from, within the agency or from another agency. They could be like your Biff Tannen, who just inexplicably shows up in every time period, or they could be like big villains.
Right. Yeah, it would be good to have some staff around the headquarters, just so that we're not always talking to ourselves.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
Like, I'm going to pitch a nervous librarian who doesn't like excitement, so does not go on the time travel missions. But loves research.
Oh, I love that. Okay, right. So sort of a helpful research person. Now, so when I'm out of my body and doing that, what's happening to me? And I'm just sort of sitting sort of cross-legged in that special room and sort of
Well, that's an interesting question. If Troy, if your character exists in all of these time periods and particular incarnations, what form of you, if any, exists in our headquarters, and how do we interact with you there?
Is it like,
are you perhaps a disembodied voice there?
Oh my goodness! Wow, that feels right. That feels right. And I was thinking sort of because of the nature of time travel, perhaps that having that grounding physical presence in our headquarters allows us to come back and forth. So if I were to be removed or whatever, so it's kind of like my physical body is maybe almost in a kind of catatonic state, sort of just
Oh yeah, just like in storage, like in a crystal or something.
Well, yeah, that kind of a thing. And then when people come back, we can interact and talk. But while we're away, we're really away, and maybe that nervous librarian also is sort of tending to the to keep an eyeball on what my physical body's doing.
We can introduce more staff besides the nervous librarian too.
Absolutely.
We could have like an adjunct wizard who watches over like the void time zone while we're gone.
Oh, I wonder if there could be somebody that was pulled out of time that just stayed with us. And one of those other kind of characters. I'm trying to think of who I'd want to stick around with if I were like in a time coma.
It could be somebody that ended up lost in history, and so they can't go back, but we liked them too much to send them back to die. So you could have like Amelia Earhart as your like attending physician.
Crystal Frasier, shut the front door. I literally in my head have been I was thinking of Amelia Earhart because I just thought about that kind of strong sort of character that everyone's always kind of felt like, where is she? But she's with us. I love that idea. maybe Amelia is sort of kind of captaining the HQ, sort of like that NPC that sort of runs the show there and keeps things running on time.
Oh, and just to add to the weird, can I make our nervous librarian a Lemurian?
Yes.
Okay, what's
you
a
absolutely
Lemurian?
can.
They're serpent people from before humans evolved into sentience.
Mhm.
So like from before like they became like an evil empire. She's just like a sweet snake woman.
Right?
I
in the
love
in
it.
in the words of Doctor Who, I am a snake woman from the dawn of time, and this is my wife.
That's
I
so
love that.
good. I love it. I see a memoir in the making. So Nicholas has a question here. Is it easier to have one mutable timeline or the branching alternate timeline method? So one of the things that Nicholas is getting at here, Nicholas, your questions are just like chef's kiss. You can't see me because I don't have a body. But Nicholas also says, what's the easiest way to keep track of changes throughout time based on the PC's actions? Yeah, so that's an interesting question.
I mean, it's going to be a different answer for everyone. I like a bulletin board with like a thread running through it, sort of like Back to the Future chalkboard style.
Like I'm tracking a serial killer style.
Yep, so you can kind of picture where things went off track, but I tend to be a visual thinker. I'm sure keeping notes will work better for some people. And I mean, depending on the kind of campaign you want to run, the branching timelines or the immutable timeline that always tries to write itself. I mean, for this campaign, I think branching timelines is probably the better option. But if it's our job to try and keep the one true timeline on track, then a timeline that keeps itself on track isn't super.
Right.
That doesn't need as much protecting.
babysitting.
We've got a couple really, really great suggestions here. One of them is NPC idea, a Doc Brown Q, like a Star Trek kind of character, maybe some sort of nuisance menace that randomizes our problems. Owen says NPC by the name of Nick O'Time. Neither friend nor foe, but an iffy morality temporal merchant who takes things from one time zone where they're cheap and sells them elsewhere where they're costly.
Time-traveling Harry Mudd. He sounds annoying
Quark.
already.
We could even call him Quark, and it works.
I like it. Yes, it does. That is so great.
Yeah, I love the idea of like just not even a villain, but just scum we keep running into. Rogue.
Yeah, somebody just an opportunist.
Not a dashing time rogue, but a lovable time rogue.
Yeah, somebody who is like maybe at first we're suspicious and sort of, but then becomes someone who we begrudgingly
Right.
Yeah,
and like every now and then we've got to go to him because we're stranded in, say, the court of King Arthur, and we don't have our time pistols.
Right, and it can be sort of one of those deal with the devil kind of, where we get the good deal or we don't get a good deal, or if anything close to a good deal happens, we are instantly suspicious. Kevin Haley says, idea or suggestion, possible random effect, a temporal storm where oddly colored lightning may strike, inserting something from an alternate reality or sending something to an alternate. Oh, that's hilarious. We're doing a thing.
Drops things from an alternate time. Like you've finally gotten a handle on, say, ancient Egypt, and then suddenly mammoths.
Right.
Yeah. Or we're talking to somebody, and in the midst of that, a temporal storm is coming, and maybe it's something one of us can sense, and something in the room or something by us, we know it's going to happen. We try to that's an interesting complication. We have to get out of the way, or what we're talking to gets zapped into another timeline.
I am realizing, though, there were still mammoths on Earth while they were building the pyramids.
Right. So maybe not that outlandish.
Yeah, maybe not mammoths. maybe cyberpunk bikers come to ancient Egypt.
Sure.
Why is that just blowing my mind for some reason? But that is, I have no idea.
Well, that's the beauty of time travel.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Owen says, what if different forms of time travel follow different rules? So branching timelines is most common, but the old time gates from the first people can rewrite all timelines. Oh, I like that. All timelines at once. Interesting.
Oh yeah. The time gates are like the I can't remember what we called them in the book. The immutable points that everything
Fixed time, yeah.
fixed time points that you can't change anything about, and kind of serve to write
I like
how
that.
time
Mhm.
flows.
Yeah, they can
Ooh.
be sort of time dams, in terms of changes.
Oh, I like that too. Yeah, this is so great. I'm getting very excited
Yeah.
about this.
I
A
don't-
question that Nicholas has real quick is, how would you describe the end of time and the beginning of time? Whoa, buddy.
Oh, that's different for everybody.
Right.
Again, one of my favorite comes from old Ninja Turtle comics, where the end of time is just a wall.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah.
harder you try to press against it, the more the wall gets angry at you and pushes back.
Ooh,
Right.
And something from
interesting.
beyond it will basically lash out against you if you try to push beyond.
Hmm. Yeah.
Here's a
Yeah, I
question.
mean, most
Go ahead.
time travel models set up some kind of approach where basically there's a point before and after where you can't go any further. There's just
Yeah.
nothing there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And my question too about specific to the time sort of thing that we're fighting against, and there's always that sort of entropy is the thing we're, kind of trying to, either stall or what have you. I imagine there being aspects of this time travel or experiences where we get a little too close to that edge or
Mhm.
end, and
Sure.
what does that look like? Like, are there pieces of time that the more we push, that it kind of crumbles, or aspects of time get sort of
Well, we talk in the codex about various kinds of temporal hazards that characters can encounter, and the notion that there are dangerous energies or the like that they can be bombarded with or exposed to that can cause different afflictions or cause different effects. Is definitely one of the things you can build into your time travel scenarios and say, okay, if you're going in this particular region towards close to the end of time, the entropic effects are things you're going to have to make fortitude checks against.
right.
Yeah, your body will just start to unravel, or you'll age so fast that you don't have more than a minute or two to function at the end of time before you're dust.
Right.
It's like when you take a deep sea fish up to the surface and it goes from being a handsome little bass to being a blobfish.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, those poor blobfish.
Right? If you have no idea what we're talking about, Google what do blobfish look like in the bottom of the sea, because they're just attractive, normal little fish down there.
Are they
Right.
really? I've only
They
seen them as that
are.
sort of
They're
Yeah.
cute.
melty.
When there's 100 atmospheres of pressure on the outside of them, yes.
That's...
Right? I feel called out.
So I just got a note from somebody. I'm looking. Somebody said Owen shares that Stan Brown drew some artwork for this stream.
Ooh,
Oh, did he?
we're honored.
Time
Stan?
werewolves. I am to understand. I'm gonna
Wait,
look.
has Stan already drawn time werewolves?
Yeah,
He's fast.
is Stan?
Wow.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Stan, I gotta tell you, I stan you, Stan, because we've been desperate for some artists to art up some stuff, and so I'm gonna dig in there and
Yeah, you gotta dig in there and screen share this stuff, Troy.
heck, I
Right.
will do such a thing, and I will do that now.
I think now we've officially got to make the time werewolves like
I know.
enemies.
Now we've got to make it a thing.
Yeah. What is this? Is this just what gets unleashed when time gets pushed too far off track? Like, these are the things that come in and eat the bad timeline?
Ooh, like antibodies, time antibodies. Sort of.
Yeah,
Right.
like Langoliers.
Yeah. But
Oh,
in
yes,
werewolf
yes,
form,
yeah.
But they're werewolves.
With the werewolves, I like it.
That's like every day is a werewolf apocalypse, but
Right. I mean, when you're a time traveling werewolf, is every night a full moon, basically?
oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, you can always have a gate open to somewhere where it's a full moon.
Right.
How many different ways am my mind gonna get blown during this conversation? Because I'm just like, yeah, that's wow. Okay.
Writing time
yeah.
travel stuff is fun because you
God,
can
it's
just
so
be over the top.
Yeah.
So did you have any good NPC ideas you wanted to toss out, Steve?
So I think that
Besides the time werewolves.
right. Sorry, I mean, it's kind of hard to beat the time werewolves at this point, but it would be interesting if we had some. I think the idea of sort of the roguish sort of time merchant character is an interesting one.
Yeah.
The other challenging thing with time travel characters is coming up with interesting NPCs that the characters can encounter, outside of their headquarters, because they're always visiting a new time period or a new place, in the timeline. They're always running into new characters, and there's not a lot of consistency as far as that goes. It would be interesting if we had another sort of recurring character of some kind who was not necessarily an ally, not necessarily an enemy, maybe someone who is or a researcher or something who's like recording these things.
So like a time traveler who studies the past or studies time, or like the Watcher who's just immortal.
Right,
just
some
kind
mystery.
of like keeping an eye on things, but isn't like too normally too inclined to help us out as far as that goes, because spoilers.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I love that idea.
I do too. Yeah.
Somebody you can go to use your contacts advantage, but
right. But
maybe they like you, but they can't really get directly involved.
But occasionally they're willing to drop a hint, like bend the rules.
Bring your umbrella on Wednesday.
Right.
Right.
It turns out because it's a rain of flaming kittens on Wednesday.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
Don't shield the prime minister, then World War VI starts.
Here, take this potato. You'll know why.
Right. Right.
You'll know when the time comes.
You'll know. It'll become clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that.
One thing that's also great about time travel too is the opportunity to use hero points to edit scenes. And I was just thinking about that notion in relation to this character of some things being the occasional sort of retroactive advantage, of well, this contact gives you something, but you don't have to decide what it is until later.
Oh, I love that.
And you can just spend a hero point and make it it's Schrodinger's thing until then. And then you just spend a hero point and it becomes something.
Yeah, you keep it in your Schrodinger box.
Yes, of course.
And then you spend a hero point and it becomes your Chekhov's box.
Exactly. It was always that way.
All right, sorry. I love it too. I'm getting our time. This is so good. Thank you, Stan. I will share it here in just a moment. I'm getting it off the slacks.
Yeah, this is kind of how my Modern Age campaign came together, because half the NPCs in that are suggestions from my players.
Yeah.
Their default headquarters has become the Gentleman's Club, owned by my wife's rival, who they hate each other, but they love each other because they spent a winter in the Yukon snowed in together.
Oh, some great suggestions. Stan Brown says he could be called the Spoiler. Talking about
there you go.
That could even be a nickname that we gave, as sort of a.
Right.
This is so great. Owen says,
my true name cannot be known to you.
Yeah. Otherwise,
is it Jeremy? It's probably Jeremy.
It's probably Chuck. Yeah, right. Owen says, "I'm the chronicler of all time. I am not here to interfere, only to record." Take this potato. Did you?
Right.
Anyway, I have too many potatoes. Please remove this one.
Oh, I like.
Don't throw it away.
Chronicus, the eater of time, and the harbingers of Chronicus that choose timelines for him to consume, destroying them. I am wearing my Galactus shirt today. That is oddly. That is so funny. Okay.
I think, are we all wearing superhero or comic book shirts today? Because I've got my Wonder Woman shirt.
Sadly.
Oh no, Steve, you are our steadiest source of comic book shirts.
I know.
We're just following your lead, and you changed up the playbook. Cool. Okay, great.
We understand. Everyone needs a break.
It's laundry day. What can I tell you?
I get it. Okay, cool. So, holy smokes, it's 3:06.
Right.
So yeah, that is the basics of how to run a session 0 and get everybody excited. And I mean, normally I'd also ask, like, how do we know each other, things like that.
Mhm.
Whatever feels important for kicking off the campaign, making sure everybody's kind of on the same
Right.
wavelength.
Right. Talk about like the point where we want to start. In terms of, are the characters already a team? Are we going to play out how the characters get together?
Yeah,
Those kinds of things.
Yeah, we could have been doing this together for like years now, and every now and then flash back to an earlier adventure that lays the seeds for the next session. Or
right.
Yeah,
I like that. The other thing too, just sort of looking back on this process, I think the thing to remember is that because Crystal and Steve and I have been doing this for a while, just kind of talking to each other through this medium, if it were a group that I was a little less familiar with, I would, I think I would have defaulted to addressing some of the managing of expectations around the table.
Yes.
But yeah. And we did a little bit of that, but I think we kind of have a sort of shorthand and a little bit of a psychic sort of, we just know context of, here we're doing a live stream and what
we've known each other for years now.
Exactly.
Right.
So take that into consideration for folks who are listening. It's important to
with a larger group of players, you'd want to make sure that everybody got a chance to be heard and have some input. And some people are more dynamic and involved in these kinds of conversations, and other people are, thinking their answers through, and may not jump right in with a particular idea, especially, in front of everybody as far as that goes.
Well, Kirsten, one of the things I
want to keep. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the things you absolutely want to keep in mind is, session 0 isn't fully done until you start session 1, a few days or a week later. So be open to changes by email, give the game master a chance to type everything up. Normally I'd be taking down some basic notes on all this, and because people might come up with a great name for their character and people still need to come up with their stat blocks. And, usually I like to ask people what your niche is going to be. Like, what's the one thing you want to be best at the table? Like, do you want to be the best at investigating things, or at fixing things, or the best at wrestling, or like, what is the one challenge you want to come up every now and then that you are just like the person to go to?
I love that. One of the things I wanted to mention too, Crystal, just as something I really appreciated, was your, because time travel, we can just kind of go all over the place. You're kind of guiding us, and then also being sure that you said, "Hey, Steve, how about you on this thing?" As I was freaking out about, the fact that there were mammoths and builders of pyramids at the same time. I'm still kind of processing that, but it was just really thoughtful, and I thought it set the tone for, all right, how about you like get involved, get engaged. And then I also too like that you just asked sort of very direct, friendly, sort of drawing out questions, sort of like, no, it's your turn to sort of put this together. And I had a little pang of like, oh God, I'm going to say something stupid. But then we all just sort of dove in, and it was really fun.
Oh no, I love collaboration. Like as a writer and as a game designer, I think all of the best projects I've ever done were the result of things like this, where we all sat down at a table together and talked through, like, what if this, and is this all right? And I like this idea, but how do I make it not dumb?
Right.
Because I've had a lot of ideas that were kind of great, but silly. And having somebody like Steve, who is just ingenious, to help me figure out a way to make my terrible ideas fun, or my fun ideas good.
And that's the other thing I love about this, is that we didn't take ourselves too terribly seriously. Like, we just basically said, hey, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to do that thing where we're just like, fighting the world's ills. This is an opportunity for us to maybe not do that.
We do that every day.
Right.
This is a chance for us to punch time werewolves.
I love it. Speaking of which,
sent by the future Gowana people.
Right. I am. I'm going to transition to this so we can see, and let's cross.
This is the most dangerous trick for Troy to do, is screen share.
Can he do it?
If this destroys everything, it was nice knowing everybody.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you can blame Zoom, but here we go.
Nope.
Can the stream see it? I mean, if they can.
Oh. Oh, so we don't get to see it? That seems unfair.
I'm trying to bring up the stream. Oh, no, I'm not. Stan's art is amazing, so I have no doubt it is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Wow.
pretty amazing. I love it.
That's pretty impressive for during our stream.
It is indeed.
Stan is ridiculously fast.
Stan,
Yeah.
it's just incredible. We do appreciate this. Yeah, let's roll, Time Werewolves. But do you hear the music playing?
Oh, is it that time again?
It's that time. It is indeed. I can't believe it. I could do this for literally another 2 hours, which is why these things last for 2 hours when we're going with it. Do we want to bring this back in some fashion, like sort of little baby sort of bites of a sort of this zero session?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we could do them if people like them. I just wanted to do at least an example because we've talked about session zeros before and what you do in them, but we've never really, sat down and shown people this is what we mean.
True,
Right.
Very true. A question for our friends in the that are paying attention. You want us to do more of this? You want us to unpack more about our characters in this special kind of space? And if so, let us know. And you can do so by dropping, of course, a comment in the chat because we pay close attention. But you can also send a note to letsplay at greenronin.com with any ideas, any art, any compliments, requests for an address for some holiday cookies that you didn't bake but mailed to us. My favorite is
We do have a P.O. box specifically for receiving baked goods.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm telling you, friends, there are there are lots of people saying unpack more.
All right.
Aw,
Yeah.
all right. Wow.
And if folks want us to do other brainstorming session zeros for other things,
You could absolutely do
too.
one of these for the Supernatural Handbook, the Cosmic Handbook, Hero High.
Mhm.
We can't do Hero High without bringing on Lucian.
Yeah, we would need a guest.
Really
Having
would.
Lucian for that would be great.
Oh my gosh, that would be great. I want to meet. I
You do.
have to. I have to.
You do.
You really do.
I have to. The other thing I was going to suggest is that maybe, just maybe, because of the nature of time, we could bring a guest from the people who are watching.
Mm.
Like maybe they could join us in the future for future talk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Think we could get Owen K.C. Stevens, the nicest man in gaming?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, hopefully he'd be too nice to say no.
Speaking right, even that's probably true. But speaking of Owen, we are doing Thursdays with Owen. It is
Yay.
so fun. I'm telling you, Owen is just a wit, just a master at just sort of improvisation and being able. I will tell you, and you know me, both of you know me quite well. I can derail anything. Like I can throw us off the rails, and Owen is right there, like literally making it look as though we planned it. And Owen has a way of making you look so good. And so now it's sort of a challenge, and so I'm introducing something called, "Hey Owen, stat this." And I'm gonna be bringing in some, art from our community, and maybe some art that I made, and Owen will, hey Owen, stat this, and we'll see if we can stump him.
I'd say, hey Owen, stat our time werewolves, but we have a whole section on chronozoids.
Right.
Somewhere in here. Here we go. Yeah.
Though Owen's ability to simultaneously stat things in multiple game systems is legendary.
It is amazing. I have no idea how he keeps up with it. I just assume there are actually 3 Owens and they take turns
that would
writing.
make sense. Maybe there's some time travel going on.
Mhm.
Well, friends, listen. We are at. So I think now we've literally done a full hour. We are back on time, having been out of time, and we are not even here yet. So map that. Time Werewolves of Freeport. Jonesy,
Ooh.
making that thread. I love it.
Mhm.
David Body says more Thundar.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
Thunder is such a sweet spot.
Oh, it is.
Right.
Yeah, but we all have that nostalgia bug for Thundar for sure. All right, friends, thank you so much for watching and hanging out. Thank you so much for having fun with us. Crystal, Steve, literally one of the highlights of my week. It is the
Aw.
best way to open the door on a week, and I look forward to it. And I'm always a little sad when it ends, but always a little excited because we have so much more to come. Awesome. Any words you'd like to share?
I mean, definitely pick yourself up a copy of the condition cards. I've got mine coming soon. I'm really looking forward to it because literally my first project that I think anybody at Green Ronin ever noticed was I made a fan deck of condition cards just after 3rd edition came out.
Yeah.
Shared them on the message boards.
Yep. And we were pretty impressed by that because they were great.
Phenomenal.
I mean,
yeah.
I was doing professional graphic design at the time.
Right.
We've dropped some links in the chat, and yeah, take care of yourselves, and wear those masks.
Wear your
We want to
masks.
get out of here. We want to hang out in person. Steve,
Stay safe. Keep everybody else safe.
And join us next Monday. After, of course, you join us on Thursday for Thursday Age with Owen. And that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you again soon.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Be good to yourself.